Hello everyone, this is DN Molo, and today we are continuing my series where I react to things in my Watch Later playlist. If you're one of the, I don't know, two people who watch this series, I hope you enjoy it. Hmm. Yes, I think I might be overstating the number of people here. I think it might be even less than two. But enough self-deprecating humor. Let's get on to today's video, uh, and which is another video by Monster Maze
Jimmy John's finally has toasted sandwiches,
about
including a new
the
chicken
Legend
bacon bake.
of
Try one today.
Zelda Breath of the Wild.
This video is
Mm-hmm. Uh, and remember to leave a like and leave a comment and subscribe for more videos. And also, make sure to ring that bell so you're notified for all the uploads and all that. I mean, you don't want to accidentally miss a video you might like. Oh, it is recording, right? Yeah, it's recording.
this video is sponsored by me, since I put a lot of time and effort into it. So,
Okay.
also, if you're in any way invested in this channel, stick around until the very end, where I have a couple of updates regarding my schedule, as well as the upcoming 1-year anniversary of the channel next week.
Yay.
Ever since Ocarina of Time, all 3D Zelda games and some 2D installments as well gave Link various means to make traveling around faster and less troublesome. Be it on horseback, ships, a train, or a rideable bird companion, all served to aid him on his quest to rid the world of evil. And Breath of the Wild was no different. Aside from the paraglider, which was already an amazing addition, we once again had the option to ride various animals, catch our own steeds, name them, and use their speed to our advantage. And in a world as vast as this one, they were definitely a welcome inclusion. But you know what you can't do on a horse?
Yeah, definitely one of the coolest things about this game.
Oh yeah, after purchasing the second DLC,
Hmm. No, I've never played this game, so I never had the chance to look closely at this thing. But looking closely, I noticed that you kind of see a bit of a horse head here. Huh, that's pretty cool.
pack, The Champion's Ballad, and overcoming its challenges, Link is rewarded with no less than a goddamn motorcycle. Or as I like to call it, the Horse Redundancy Cycle Zero, which totally eradicates the need for a horse altogether. I mean, why should you? Can't do this on a horse. Or this. Or this. Those bastards won't even budge when faced with more than a 30-degree incline. The Master Cycle Zero says nay to that, and lucky for Link, it runs on basically anything. Rocks, fruits and plants, chicken legs, goat butter, frickin' fairies. But I gotta hit the brakes real quick. As cool as the Master Cycle Zero is, this isn't what we're here to talk about. Well, not entirely.
Yeah, we're talking about this so-called fifth divine beast. Mm-hmm.
Anyway, instead what I want to focus on today is that which leads to this awesome reward. That being the final trial Link has to overcome before facing off against Monk Mos Koshia and receiving this technological wonder. There's quite a bit of mystery and confusion surrounding this place. Why is it here and what purpose does it serve? Why does its interior have so many similarities to the divine beasts? Pair that with the unusual
Well, to be fair, the shrines do share a lot in common with the divine beasts as well, so it could be that. Although I must say, that does share more in common with the divine beasts than the usual shrines do. But then again, I guess it isn't your typical shrine.
reward at the end, and you got yourself a subject ripe for some good old theorizing. So let's talk about the so-called fifth divine beast found in Breath of the Wild. Hidden away in a cave located on a ridge atop the Great Plateau, we find the Shrine of Resurrection, the very first place we see after booting up the game. It is here that Link opens his eyes after having been in stasis for 100 years, and is set on his quest to face Calamity Ganon, the scourge of Hyrule Castle who torched the kingdom 100 years ago, and is now on the verge of breaking free once again, with Princess Zelda desperately trying to restrain him. After starting the adventure, there is very little reason to return to the Shrine of Resurrection, other than collecting one of the 900 Korok seeds hidden across Hyrule.
I didn't know there was a Korok in there. But then again, as I've already said, I've never actually played the game. I know that I've just seen like a couple Let's Plays of it.
That is, until we boot up DLC Pack 2, The Champion's Ballad. Little did we know, the entire room Link was recovering in doubles as a giant elevator, leading us deep down into another ancient Sheikah construction. A massive underground trowel consisting of cogs, wheels, and many more moving parts which can be manipulated using the Sheikah Slate. The similarities this place has to the inside of the 4 Divine Beasts has led some to call it the 5th Divine Beast. An understandable conclusion, as it has almost the exact same rules and mechanics. Obtaining the map first, manipulating its mechanics, solve a few puzzles until you're finally ready to face the boss.
Yeah, I can see why many people would call it the 5th Divine Beast. Know that even if it's not in the shape of any beast, I know that it definitely acts just like the other dungeons. Well, in this game and all that. I mean, I'm calling them dungeons and all that since a lot of times what the locations like this are kind of called throughout the series. I mean, it's either dungeons or temples and all that. It's strictly one of the two.
And call it a day. It even has the same lazy enemy placement in the form of a few guardian robots, and that's it. The only real difference is that instead of one of Ganon's blights, the final stage of the trial instead leads to a Sheikah monk, just like the ones we saw in the shrines. Unlike the 4 Divine Beasts, which were corrupted and taken over by Ganon's malice, this place seems to have been untouched by his influence, also like the shrines. So in that sense, it's kind of
Yeah. I guess you could say that it's kind of like Link's Divine Beast. Anyway, yeah. Hmm. Yeah, since if it is a divine beast, I guess it would be kind of Link's, and I was saying it would make. You know, I think I'm rambling on too much here. I mean, he clearly knows more better than I do, so I'm gonna let him
like
talk.
a hybrid between a shrine and a divine beast. But unlike these,
Yeah, that's what I was kind of thinking.
this place seems to have served a different purpose. The divine beasts were built to be operated by a pilot and served as a support to subdue Ganon. The shrines, on the other hand, were solely built to test the hero tasked with dealing the final blow to Ganon using the Sword of Evil's Bane, i.e. the Master Sword. At first glance, it seems like the final trial served the latter, a test for the hero. After all, upon defeating Monk Moscotia, he states that Link has now proven himself to be a true hero. And the reward, the Master Cycle Zero, seems like it was made specifically for him alone. But let's back up for a moment here. We actually already know that the 5th Divine Beast does indeed exist. And it's not the final trial itself, but instead, as you probably have guessed, the Master Cycle itself.
Oh, so that's what this is about. It's about improving that the Master Cycle is the 5th Divine Beast. Huh. Oh, well, I must say it's rather unorthodox Divine Beast, that's for certain.
Moscotia does indeed point this out right as you start the DLC quest inside the Shrine of Resurrection. I now address the one who wishes to master a divine beast. So, yeah, the bike is the 5th divine beast.
And that explains why it looks kind of like a horse. That's the 5th divine beast, a horse. Fitting that it would belong to Link then, I know that.
Not exactly on the same scale as the other 4, but hey, who are we to judge? And when you really think about it, the Master Cycle Zero is very fitting for the hero to pilot rather than a giant behemoth. The goal of the other 4 beasts as
after oftentimes the hero throughout the series has wielded the Triforce of Courage, many times. Now, not in every game, but in many games, the hero has wielded the Triforce of Courage. So, it kind of makes sense that the embodiment of courage would, have the smallest one and all that. Since it takes more courage to use something so small to go against a massive and terrifying enemy than using a big massive thing to go against a big massive energy and all that. And since if you're in a big massive thing, and then you're kind of on equal ground with with the big evil massive thing. But if you're on a small thing going against the big massive thing, it's uneven ground, and thus it's more courageous.
Stated before, was purely to provide support while the hero and princess attempted to seal Ganon away. They were never
Mm-hmm.
designed to outright defeat Ganon
Yeah, that
on
too.
their own. As powerful as their giant lasers are, this isn't nearly enough to slay the Demon King. Even with all four combined, they were still only able to inflict half his life bar worth of damage. And mind you, this
Mm-hmm.
Calamity Ganon wasn't even at its full potential, as Masterworks points out. Out of all parties involved, the task of the hero was by far the hardest and most dangerous one. Yes,
Yep. Yep. That's why you know. Uh, it's the kind of like the embodiment of the Triforce of Courage.
parties involved, the task of the hero was by far the hardest and most dangerous one. Yes, Zelda did struggle to awaken her powers at first, but that was mostly due to her own insecurities and mental block. But once awakened, we've seen what the wielder of Goddess Hylia's power can do. She
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't even have to get all that close to the Demon King. Instead, she would have waited until he was weak enough to a point that she can send him into the void using a massive surge of energy. The hero, on the other hand,
Yeah, definitely the embodiment of the Triforce of Wisdom right here.
enough to a point that she can send him into the void using a massive surge of energy. The hero, on the other hand, is the only one involved who would have to make direct contact with Ganon by striking him with the Master Sword. In other words, getting close enough to be in Sword's range. As such, the Master Cycle Zero would be a fine addition to his arsenal to accomplish his goal, as it grants him much greater speed and mobility to close the distance and avoid the Demon King's attacks. Not that this was hard in the actual game, but let's not talk about that. That was just lazy boss design. Another reason why it's clear that the Master Cycle Zero was specifically designed as the fifth Divine Beast to be used by the hero is that it's tied to the Sheikah Slate. This is one more thing that makes the bike stand out from the other beasts, as it functions as a rune inside the slate and can be summoned or stored in
Oh, and I just realized something. At the beginning here.
plants, chicken legs, goat butter, frickin' fairies.
Yeah, he said that we won't talk about the bike
But I
here.
gotta hit the brakes real quick. As cool as the Master Cycle Zero is, this isn't what we're here to talk about. Well, not entirely anyway.
Yeah, no, but a bit of a sneaky here. Yeah, he made. I think that we weren't gonna. That the bike isn't the fifth divine beast, and the shrine is the divine beast. And you would also think that since he also mentioned that a lot of people have started calling this shrine the fifth divine beast, but in reality, the real fifth divine beast is the reward we got by going through the shrine. Mm-hmm. Ah, very clever. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Plus, he technically did not once and all that since and this video isn't entirely about the bike. But it was kind of a misdirection here, slight misdirection. Very clever.
Slate. This is one more thing that makes the bike stand out from the other beasts, as it functions as a rune inside the slate and can be summoned or stored inside at any time. As it functions
Oh, looking here, it kind on one hand the symbol for the bike. One hand it kind of looks like a lens is is on the other side, but on the other hand, it also kind of looks like a horn. Kind of like the horn of a unicorn and all that. Huh. Kind of clever. Huh. And
as a rune inside the slate and can be
I guess that's all I can gotta say about the design of that symbol
summoned
there.
or stored inside at any time. Although we mostly saw Zelda using the slate 100 years ago because of her interest in the Sheikah tech, it was never actually intended to be used by her. We can see this in one of the cutscenes from 100 years ago, where she tries to use it on one of the shrines and it doesn't respond to her. The slate was indeed designed to be used by the hero, as it is tied to the shrines meant to test him. We also have to keep in mind that Link likely wasn't the first hero to face Ganon using the Sheikah slate. We know of at least one hero that preceded him in doing so, and this hero actually succeeded on his first try, since Ganon wasn't aware of the Sheikah weaponry at that time. This makes for a strong argument that this ancient hero may have been utilizing the full potential of the Sheikah slate, and thus the Master Cycle Zero as well, since the ancient Sheikah who built the technology were still alive at this point in time, and would have been able to explain how it all works, an advantage which our modern day heroes didn't have. So with all that said, let's redirect our attention to the final trial. Since we already established that this place isn't the fifth divine beast, what is it then? The shape of the facility itself has already sparked some interesting ideas, as the layout shares a lot of similarities to that of a combustion engine. The four cylindrical rooms protruding out on the sides are just like that of the cylinders of an engine. In turn,
So that's interesting, huh? So in a way, this one does resemble a beast like the divine beasts do, but instead of a organic beast, it's more of a mechanical sort of a beast and all that. In other words, a motorcycle.
the entire structure is connected by spinning parts which all come together in one central cog and can be spun clockwise or counterclockwise, simulating forward and reverse. It even has a giant fan, another common thing found in an engine. This has brought forth some pretty wild speculation, like the idea that this facility is actually inside the Master Cycle Zero and is then magically shrunken down by
Well, I gotta say that would be quite crazy and insane. That would be definitely quite crazy. Although in a way, I think I have a different theory that instead of just being inside the motorcycle, it could the song could actually just work as a tutorial and all that. So that way, if the engine gets damaged, the whoever went through the entire shrine to get to the motorcycle will be able to understand the engine a bit more, so that way they could repair the engine and all that. Hmm. No, I don't know about you, but I think my theory is a bit better than the magic shrinking thing. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Scotia upon completing the trial. I do not believe this to be the case though. Yes, the trial is
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. I wonder what he thinks it is. I wonder if it's going to be similar to my theory or not.
connected to the Master Cycle, but its layout is probably just a clever foreshadowing of the reward at the end. Not only that, but it's also based on the assumption that the final trial was designed for the hero and the hero alone. And the more I looked into what this place really is, the more I realized that this is probably not the case at all. Let's start with the first piece of evidence, Masterworks. The final trial is barely mentioned in the book, but what little it does have to say about it is quite interesting. The Shrine of Resurrection. This medical facility contains an apparatus large enough to fit a person and is designed to heal wounds. Underneath is a large trial used to train the champions of the divine beasts. Notice how it says champions, as in plural. The trial is described as a place where they would train, probably in preparation for the confrontation with Ganon, meaning it wasn't built just for the hero.
So I was kind of right about it being a bit of a tutorial then.
But in fact for all 5 champions. And the closer we look at the final trial, the more obvious this becomes. The facility
No, nothing, but I wonder if the other divine beasts have engines like the motorcycle. Huh.
facility is split into 5 different sections, not counting the elevator and the room where the monk resides. The 4 cylindrical rooms on the sides and 1 central chamber. The central room houses a guidance stone meant to be activated by the Sheikah Slate, and the other 4 are each designed around a specific element: fire, water, air, and electricity, the same 4 elements each of the pilots of the Divine Beast possessed. In turn, the door leading to Mos Koshia, which is locked with 4 giant bolts, each have a Sheikah symbol on it corresponding with the first letter of each element, and then another bolt in the center with a symbol representing the 4 Divine Beasts on it. This symbol is also found all throughout the facility, by the way, and even the one-hit obliterator which Link is meant to wield at the start of the DLC is shaped just like it. This symbol also perfectly illustrates the connection between the 5 champions, the 4 Divine Beasts at the end of the fork, and then the hero at the center of it all
Yeah, yeah, they seem to connecting it all and all that. No, oh, I love that. Oh, what a clever design. Oh, wow, that's real nice and cool.
represented by the handle.
Neat.
So with all that in mind, here's what I think the facility was originally intended to do. Upon entering the facility, the hero would use the Sheikah Slate to gain control of the central mechanism. By manipulating the interior, he would then open up the path to each of the 4 side rooms one by one. The pilots would then enter the room corresponding to their element and solve the puzzle inside. Upon succeeding, this would then free up the terminal in each room, which could then be activated using the Sheikah Slate, releasing the bolts on the door one by one. Another interesting thing that happens is that each time a bolt is released, a new set of Guardian-based enemies spawns inside the central chamber. Either these were meant to be defeated by the hero alone, or perhaps the champions would collectively fight these machines as a test of combat skill. We do find 4 weapons hidden in treasure chests which are tied to the race of the 4 pilots, and the hero would obviously be in possession of the Master Sword upon entering, so it could be that defeating the enemies in the central room was a group effort, but I can't say that for sure. When all bolts are released and all enemies defeated, the hero would then place the final part of the mechanism in the center using magnesis, and presto, the path to Mos Koshia is finally revealed and the final fight can commence. I'm quite certain that the final duel with the monk was meant to be fought by the hero alone, away from Mos Koshia to test his speed, agility, and accuracy in preparation to strike down the Demon King. As the cherry on top, he would then be rewarded with his own Divine Beast, the Master Cycle Zero, which he could then utilize during the final fight with Ganon. So you see, not only was the final trial a way for the hero to grow even stronger and receive his own Divine Beast, it was also a group effort, a way to test and increase the synergy and cooperation skills between the 5 champions, combining their skills and intelligence to solve one giant puzzle together and possibly even fight enemies as a team. This also explains why Link isn't allowed to enter or is even made aware of the final trial underneath the Great Plateau until he has tamed all 4 Divine Beasts and received the essence of each of the deceased pilots. When Link receives one of these skills, he is essentially carrying a part of that champion spirit with him, and since the final trial was designed to be completed by 5 individuals, Link wasn't allowed to enter until he possessed the spirits of all 4 champions plus his own, so that they would still be alongside him, even if only in spirit. Goddamn, camera's never doing what I... Hey there, it's me. So, I wanted to give a few updates on the channel, and something for next week, because some things have changed. Bear with me, I'm terrible on camera, and I don't like doing this at all. So, some of you may have caught wind on the fact that I was working on a big...
Okay, so the channel update takes up the rest of this video here. This came out like 4 years ago, so honestly, I guess it's not too important. Let's head down and read the comments. Yeah. Okay. Those first screaming was heartbreaking. Bosa, Massive Lightning Camo, Drug Freaking Volcano Salam, and Mifa, Graceful Spring Elephant, Rivali, Board, Land, Horse Spike. Oh, that's what it is, upside down. No, what? How do you type that upside down? That's what I wonder. The monk. I now address the one who wishes to master a divine beast. Link. Oh yeah, I'm going to get a gigantic robot that has a massive all-destroying laser. The monk. How about a bike? Cute. Divine Beast Vargo. Cast calls it a beast beyond the divine form. Well, it's definitely a bit easier to maneuver than the other four, that's for certain. I like to think that its name is Divine Beast Vanipona in honor of his iconic steed. Yeah, that would be interesting. My theory, it's Link's reward for Mario for winning Mario Kart. This gets me thinking about the sequel, and the thought of the Divine Beasts pulling a Power Rangers and going full Megazord with a plateau as the engine. Uh, hmm. Uh, I wonder what that video is about. Might check it out later. Okay, going to poke a hole in this theory. Zelda couldn't use the Seeker Slate to open the shrine in that particular cutscene because the Seeker Towers had not yet been activated, which in turn would activate the shrines. Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, I don't think that really pokes the hole in the theory here, though. Hmm. I mean, I don't think that really pokes a hole, but you know, interesting thing to remember. Right, you're only just reaching 1 year. I've only been watching your content for a few months, but you've quickly become one of my favorite Zelda theorists. Your ideas are so well thought out, and you justify your thoughts impeccably. You really do deserve a much larger audience. Hmm? Yeah, this guy makes pretty good videos. Yeah, I encourage you to check it out and all that. Well, anyway, I think that's enough for today's video. So remember to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And and also have a good day and goodbye.